Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO44 coming at you with another video. Eating some breakfast. Throat is doing all kinds of weird stuff, so forgive me. I'm clearing it a little more than usual. Once again, wedding cake weed change. So, yeah, it's a bit more dense than what I'm used to, but I don't think you care much about that. We're here to talk about the same topic that we've been talking about. It's not a positive topic, of course. It's Udoka's situation, man. It is starting to drip, as Shannon Sharp put it. I gotta admit, Shannon Sharp has been the guy that has given me different things to think about. Out of all the pundits that I've been listening to, he's the one that's put things in my head that's actually helped me look at this thing the right way. So big up to Uncle Shay. This is what I'm learning. Udoka's situation has gotten worse because now it's being reported that some of the some of the statements he might have made were unwanted. He might have made unwanted statements toward one of the staffers. Would it have been the same staffer that he's accused of having this engagement with, or affair with, or however you put it, entanglement with? That is not clear, and I think a lot of people are jumping to that conclusion. I think it's an easy assumption, but that is not clear. And with so many different conflicting rumors and things going around, we still have yet to find out everything we need to know. But it is unfolding to help us understand that the Boston Celtics see something behind the scenes that make it so that they feel they need to do this as drastically as they are. That was an easy assumption yesterday as well. But because of the way the information was presented to us, it wasn't the one that you would just jump to first. But like I said, Shannon Sharp has helped me a lot. When he put it in the airwaves that he thought that this could be possibly a looming situation with that the Celtics are trying to get ahead of, with possibly a lawsuit coming from one of the parties, that makes sense in terms of how they're handling it and exactly the way they're handling it. Putting the suspension out there covers their backside. Instead of firing him and then having him have a certain type of gripe that could blow back on the company. It's the same reason why I think Robert Sarver was suspended for 1 year, because rather than to demand him leave, which he technically couldn't be demanded of, what they can do is make the distance between him and the organization so difficult that the likelihood of him returning becomes more murkier as the time progresses. And in that process, hopefully they'll get the hint and walk away. So I think at this point, that might have been what the Boston Celtics were hoping Udoka would do. And it doesn't look like Udoka's as quick to walk away from the job. I think the reason being is because his value is so low, and he probably won't get because of the details being dripped out the way that they are, he's probably not going to be looked at as favorably going forward. And he knew that before the information that we had dropped, I believe. As Shannon said, and as I'm saying a bunch of times, this thing is coming out dripping. In other words, we're getting information in increments. And as those increments come out, we understand that this is layered and it has more to it than what's being discussed right now. So now we just wait to see exactly how bad this got. Last night I was going to make another video, but I just decided to go to sleep instead. But one of the things that was on my mind last night is, sitting down, just kind of doing a little night stretch before bed. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. Udoka was probably doing some really freaky stuff, y'all. He probably got caught. He probably got caught in the act. It's probably on camera or something of that nature. He probably did something irrationally weird in that process. And when I say weird, I mean on property, probably something that you can't deny, probably something that they have a lot of evidence for. That's what came to mind. I'm like, it probably wasn't just as simple as him getting involved with somebody. He probably did something inappropriate in a way that is undeniable. And when you look at the Deshaun Watson situation, you look at all the various things that have happened in the past, you just see that the Boston Celtics are treating this as if it's something like that coming down the pipeline. You know what I mean? As to where, it was consensual, but we're covering our backside when we use the word consensual, because there may be more going on there, and as we learn, we will redefine. That's why I just looked at how it was being reported yesterday, and I said I didn't appreciate it at all, because it appeared as if they were manipulating us and trying to get us riled up for no reason. But now I realize that it's probably more so along the lines of they are trying to do everything they can to cover their backside legally, because they probably have multiple things that they're trying to guard against in that regard right now. Especially if someone is coming forward saying that things were not positive and that they want to take action, which that's a very easiest assumption to see now, very easy. And if that's the case, them not firing Ime Udoka, again, it's just about them covering their backside. They do actually want him gone. And so this changes my idea about other positions that he may get. Is he an excellent coach? Yes. But as we said last night, is his decision-making on point? Can we trust him to lead men? And the answer right now is no. No, you can't. You cannot. And he's going to have to re-establish himself in that regard. And that's the unfortunate aspect of the situation. You know what I mean? Because if he would to make this decision to bring this type of drama to the organization, and then within that choice, he's not able to balance it out and make it so that it doesn't go left, that just speaks to a lot of different things that he did wrong at once. It's not just enough to get involved. You couldn't keep it positive. You couldn't keep her energy up so she didn't end up turning on us and turning on you. Like, that's what it really comes down to as well. It's like he messed up in a lot of different areas. Not only did he not handle this correctly, but he did not manage what was within his control to manage, it appears. And that's why you don't get involved in these type of things in the first place, because you cannot always control what happens after this. Yes, it may start off nice, but just like Skip said, it may flame out, and then it may get awkward, and then from there people start wondering about what matters to them. And it didn't have to be a situation where she's sitting here saying, oh, he did all these horrible things to me. No, now it becomes a situation where it's like, okay, she got to protect her bottom line, right? She's going to lose her job. This is going to be a domino effect that affects her in the future. So now she has to take steps to assure that she protects all of her interests. It just becomes a situation where it's not even about what happened anymore. It's about how people are protecting themselves. And that's why it becomes such a sick situation for the Celtics, to where they just want to deter this for all time. They're not thinking about 2022 or the court of public opinion or none of that. They're thinking about, if anybody we hire does anything like this again, it could cost us a lot more than this does. And we got to make sure it never happens again. Not only in our organization, but in any organization across all sports. The Celtics now have a reputation, not a reputation, but a responsibility to uphold the standards that need to be understood across not only the NBA, but across all sports in America. That's how the owners, in my mind, are probably looking at the Celtics owners in regards to this situation, and how they would look at any owner in this situation, because you are now going to set the precedent for what is expected when these situations take place. So please, if I'm an owner, if I'm Michael Jordan, I'm saying, please, Boston, deter this behavior. Do not make it so that guys think this is something that they can get off with. You can't do this at all. We don't want you thinking that this is something you want to risk. We don't want you thinking that this is something you can fall into because your feelings are strong, you've fallen in love. We don't want you to even consider doing this while an employee of ours. If you want to put yourself in a position like this, you got to follow what the guidelines are for the specific organization you're in. If they want you to sign a certain paperwork, that's what you need to do. If they don't want you to do it at all, then that's what's required for you to keep the job. But in matters of the heart, people tend to go extreme. You know, I heard about a police commissioner. In fact, we've heard this, not commissioner, but a police officer of some sort. She fell in love with one of the people that she had, arrested and had a case with. And she was trying to get this man out of jail and effectively got in trouble for trying to do so. Like, these type of things, matters of the heart, may make you do things unwise, may make you do things that are not good for the company or good for people around you, just because your feelings are so strong. If you're that type of person, it's the organization's responsibility to try to make you so scared and make you so concerned about what happens when you do this that you never choose it. And that's, when people are talking about the heart, it's a very imbalanced thing, It matters of the heart, it matters of the loins. People, and the desires, they will go through crazy lengths to satisfy those situations. So to deter them, what is required? Extreme punishment to deter that extreme ambition. And that is ultimately why I think the suspension is 1 year also. And why this is being reported in a way that embarrasses him. Like, they are deliberately trying to deter this behavior at all costs. Why is it so important they do it in this way? Because if this thing expands to its maximum potential, it could tank the entire league. not just the Celtics. If something like this expands to its maximum potential, it can tank the entire league. Now that, my friends, is a long way away from reality. But what I'm saying is maximum potential of a crisis such as this. When multiple women come out with detailed information about how certain things went down, and then you start finding out organizations help hiding things, then you start finding out money was allocated in order. Like, these are the type of things that can happen if things get as bad as possible. And that's what I'm saying. You don't want to see what DEFCON 1 looks like if you're at DEFCON 5 with this situation. That's all I'm saying. So yeah, I get it a lot more so in terms of what the organizations are considering and what, as I said last night in the video, what the Celtics are guarding against, whose eyes are on the Celtics as they act the way that they do. We talked about that. I was saying, what are the Celtics guarding against? Who are they trying to appeal to? Because obviously they're hurting themselves in the basketball terms. Short term, they're killing themselves. They're tanking this season, ostracizing the stars that they have on their team today, possibly all kinds of different stuff that they're punting just to punish this man. And I was trying to figure out what it was today. The answer is with me. It's the other owners. They got to stop. They can't let this happen. They can't let other employees bring lawsuits to them. Stuff like this, liability lawsuits. What if it gets even worse? What if we're talking about extreme circumstances where it becomes physical in a bad nature? You got to deter any possibility of such a dream or such a scenario becoming a reality. We cannot let that domino effect ever begin. So that's how it has to be. That's why people are at such a, we're looking at unprecedented punishments, right? And it is because, and I don't have evidence of this, but I believe it is because we've seen certain tactics that corporations have used in the past to cover themselves in this situation not work. That's why we're seeing more harsher punishments, I think. The way they used to handle it, you can sign an NDA or whatever it would be, the paperwork, and then if it's consensual, maybe we can. I'm willing to bet that scenario played out the way that they intended it to, and they still lost all kinds of money. And so once that happens, everybody says, okay, that didn't work, let's try something else. I think maybe that might be some variation of what we're seeing here, because these are unprecedented ways of handling things. They are covering their backside in such a way that does make it look some completely unnecessarily loud. And so to me, that looks like a new adjustment. Maybe not the greatest adjustment, but it's an adjustment away from what was not working, I think. So yeah, man, times are changing, people are learning, and we're in a sensitive time. So that also plays a part into the harshness of everything. But at the end of the day, if whoever this lady is, or multiple people, whoever, we don't know. If this situation comes out and it's more like Deshaun Watson than what it is that they were talking about in the initial consensual declaration of what things was, then that will definitely help mold our opinion in regards to what's going on with this punishment. So I've always left room for that. Even in the midst of all these different conversations, I always left room for something to be a lot worse, because at the end of the day, when they don't tell us everything and you see people acting crazy, chances are some stuff you don't know that is pretty wild behind the scenes. Because like I said, it's like they had a problem. Ime Udoka brought them a problem. And what they started doing, to my knowledge, was acting like the Tasmanian devil, spinning around the problem. It's like, no, that doesn't help. You guys got to be more calm, more patient, more this, more that. But now I'm realizing what they're looking at has them spinning around like the Tasmanian devil around the situation. And that means they're looking at stuff that we're not. Yes, they're privy to things that we don't know yet. And they're handling that information in a way that slowly helps us absorb that information, which tells me it's probably really bad. Really bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man did some bull crap. And, we'll find out. But, this is one of those situations like this. I know that not everybody's spiritually inclined, not everybody believes in God and all that good stuff. But I'm looking at the pattern of how we just 3 days ago on one of my therapy sessions, it ain't even been a full 3 days, talked about the importance of not letting your sexual desires and those type of things get out of hand in your own head. The agreements you make before you leave the house. We literally talked about this for about 25 minutes because I was looking at a scenario in my head deriving from nothing, basically, where a person lets their sexual desires get in the way of their financial situation, or their lifestyle, their home situation, all these different things. And we've seen so many different scenarios in life over the course of this world spinning. And it's just something that's very clear to me. You know, when you let it get out of hand, people make bad, damned decisions that affect their lifestyle, affect the people they love, make the person in the mirror they see a disloyal individual, and all kinds of different stuff that ends up deteriorating your time on earth. And I can't even tell you, it wasn't even 3 days before we see a huge scandal such as this. It wasn't 3 days. But God doesn't exist, right? I guess there's nothing to this thing. We're just running around blind. I'm telling you guys, there's something to this God thing. And I'm seeing it in my own life when stuff like this happens, where I have big, poignant conversations about some real stuff, and then 2 days later, one of the biggest scandals there is reflects that. It's just, you know what I mean? Sometimes just got to go with the feeling. Something was telling me to just speak on that, and now here we are. It's so damn relevant. But, you know, we are rooting for everybody to succeed. That's why I have this channel. You know, the topic that brings you to me is basketball, but the substance that keeps you here is life, because I'm living and I'm making mistakes and I'm on a lower level, and the Lord has allowed me to see some things and allow me to have a perspective that allows me to kind of understand some things that I have no business understanding, based on just the intellectual way my brain works naturally. It gives me a lot of trouble, but it also allows me to fathom certain things that I have nothing to do with, and be able to put things together that I can't necessarily see everything to. And maybe sometimes I actually get it right. But even when I don't get it right, I think I give people things to look at, places to scratch and sniff that will ultimately point them in the right direction, even if I don't have everything I need. That's the gift. And like I said, I feel like I'm in tune with the Lord. So a lot of times he just kind of gets me ahead of things. He makes it so that stuff like this ends up happening. So that's what I want to share with you guys, man. This is a journey. I think it's aligned with everything that's happened. It's all coming together. And hopefully we can see some good come from this. Because if as a person who believes in God, I'm not sitting here saying I want to continue to see things go wrong. I'm hopeful that through these conversations and through these different things that we're seeing, we can finally start learning some lessons that we've had a very, very hard time learning as human beings. Years and years and years of recreating patterns over and over and over again. Somebody needs to just say, hold up, stop, look, humans have been doing this forever. We can stop, though. We can literally stop, and it's time to start dreaming of such in various areas. And one of them is just looking in the mirror and not doing things that make you hate you, and make you do things further that make others hate you, so you can continue to reinforce that negativity within yourself. And then the confusion ensues because you feel like yourself, but you're not actually on your side. So everything that you're doing is working against you without you actually knowing it. It's a subconscious defensive mechanism that destroys a lot of people, and it starts with certain agreements and decisions to just not hold one's self to the highest standard. And so, you know, nobody's perfect. In doing so, we always fall short. I think the good thing about a wagon is that it's there, so you can always get back on it if you fall off of it, but never abandon the wagon. Whatever it is that you're doing, try to get back on point. And in regards to everything else, man, I just encourage you to enjoy your lives. Enjoy your lives, do the best you can, and take the wisdom from life that comes from its people making mistakes like this. If they're going to fall on their swords, let it be for a reason. Let it be that you learned from that. How did they find themselves in front of that sword? What pushed them over the edge to get in that position? And how can you stay away from that? How can you steer your children, your people away from that? That's what we're hopeful to try to help you do. So that's what I got, man. We'll continue to talk about the situation. Obviously, as the information drips out, we'll react. But at this point, I'm just pretty much convinced that he did something really immoral, probably on camera. And now they about ready to kick him all the way out of the league, despite being a very, very, very fantastic coach. And, you know, as we always say, when you give your enemies your ammo, you know, they're going to shoot it back at you. And when that enemy is yourself, you're really in trouble. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.